ain't sleeping till Hollywood, Hollywood. We ain't sleeping.
Hello. Hope you all have been laughing recently. My name is Caleb McDonald.
And it's your girl, Gaelyn D. Smith.
And you're listening to No Sleep Till Hollywood. We're not sleeping until we make it in Hollywood. And while we're up, we will be discussing the state of the industry and our place in it.
And this week, we are here to discuss TikTok's former favorite comedian and his special. We're here to talk about this Matt Rife special. We're going to call this episode Jawline Jester. I just feel like we don't even need to explain that anymore. Just, we're here.
You've seen it. He comedian, got famous off of his crowd work clips.
Mhm.
Very funny guy at times.
Sometimes, some of the girlies think he's fine. I thought he was cute for a second. I think I was going through depression. And so maybe my vision was clouded, but
I'm glad you stuck with the truth.
What? Oh, that I had a crush at 4
Yeah.
Oh,
and not just erased history.
Oh, one thing about it, two things for certain. I don't care. Y'all can't fight. What are you gonna do about it? You're not gonna fight me. But no, I feel like you gotta be honest about things. But yeah, Matt Rife, like Caleb said, comedian. Did y'all know he was on Wild 'N Out? Because I promise y'all, I did not know this.
I remembered when it was brought up, but
which explains
Day
I
after
guess
day after
maybe
day.
why he was able to transition over to being like everyone's favorite TikTok comedian so fast, because people saw his face. And also like on a show like Wild 'N Out or SNL that has that many episodes like a year, you're getting your reps in. Like you have to be funny every week, as opposed to like, if you're just doing like stand up while you work your regular job, like you may be funny twice a week versus like every day someone is counting on you to be funny, to write something new, to act and do, like there's just a lot there. So I mean,
Right.
like, clearly he has put in the work to be successful. Now, what I think is hilarious is that he has toppled all of this work down in one special.
Right. Because from Wild 'N Out, like he was on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Challenge, CAA signed him. While also doing all that, he did self-produce his own 3 specials on YouTube, which is incredible. And so content creators out there, creatives in general, if you think that you need it to be done with someone else,
you don't.
Try it.
He out here with his homies, making it do what it do. I have not watched, it's funny, I have not watched any of his YouTube specials. Like I literally, so y'all, in all transparency, we're talking about his new special, Natural Selection, a Netflix comedy special that he taped in DC in September, and I went to this taping. You would have thought that maybe I would have watched like one of his little specials from the YouTube. No, I just thought this man was funny from the clips that I had seen on like TikTok and Instagram. And I was like, he's kind of cute. But so I went to Constitutional. I said, okay, the tickets weren't that expensive for Matt Rife. I was sitting in the balcony. I said, okay, I'm gonna go see him live and in person. Y'all, I should have known several things were awry. When I arrived, as many Black fans as I feel like Matt Rife has online, I was one of 20 maybe in the whole building.
He actually made that joke at the end of the special.
He made that joke. He does make that joke. Yeah. And it's funny because I'm just like, and a lot of people there, like when I was standing in line, because I went by myself, like I could hear a lot of people's conversations. People like came from like Virginia and Maryland and Atlanta and Philly, and people came for the show. And I was like, y'all are crazy. Because at the time, like he didn't announce that he was taping his special for DC. That was after he'd already sold it out. So I was shocked.
This is extra insane given that, again, he self-produced his first 3 specials and they're all on YouTube.
Right.
Only off of TikTok. And he has a sold out world tour.
DC was sold out. Everybody didn't show up, but it was sold out. No tea, no shade. Like there were definitely like empty seats in the building. But so I went, there's only Black person there. Then they had us all lock our phones in those Yonder bags, which made sense because it was taping this special, but I'm just always like entertained by that. Like I get why, because you don't want the special to, like, you don't want somebody to like tape the whole thing and like put it out. But I always am just like, interesting choice. And then when I sat down, because it took forever to get into Constitution Hall. Constitution Hall is like my least favorite venue in DC. Absolutely not. His director, I didn't like his director. Not from like a directing standpoint. Like I have not watched the special on Netflix because I went there live. But I'm sure it looks great. He was just really rude, and I didn't mess with him. Like the entire time, he kept yelling at people, like being like, "All right, guys, when Matt gets out here, everybody be quiet, don't yell out, or we're taking you out of here." Like that was like the tone of voice and the type of language he was using, and it was like every like 15 minutes he would say this before the special started. And he was like, "It's not about you, it's about Matt." And I'm like, first of all, Matt's whole brand is, if you holler out at me at a show, I will respond and engage with you. Right. And we'll have a thing. That's his entire brand. So to turn against that and start like hollering at people before anybody did it, and granted, I was the second show of the night, so I can't say that the first show people weren't hooting and hollering, but it just felt very aggressive before we even got into what we were here to be for.
Right, because you also don't want to be aggressive in a space that's supposed to be vulnerable enough to like chuckle your guts out. Like, that's interesting.
No, I definitely agree with that. It was definitely a weird vibe. And then I feel like it kind of set the tone for the first joke, which was weird. Like we've said, Matt Rife, the girlies think he's cute. Like he literally was like the white Drake of comedy, like very much giving certified lover boy branding, all of these things. Yeah. And then his entire special went against that in a way that I don't understand the choice. I feel like excuse me. Like when I went, other than being like one of a few Black people, it was predominantly women. That is a man whose fan base is women. Most of the men that I saw there were a boyfriend or a husband. I didn't really see that many, like, just like me and my guys went out to go see. I didn't see a lot of that. And then his entire special was misogynistic and mean.
Yeah, that's how you dupe them. The trailer says one thing, but then you see the content. And that first joke caught major flack for a very good reason. Not only was it a joke surrounding domestic violence, but it was actually a joke that like perpetuated it in a very bad way. And what's even crazier than that joke is the fact that he responded to people who called him out for this rightfully offensive joke with an even worse one. He put a link on his Instagram story, said, "For those who were offended, here's my apology." And he posted a link to a page with medical supplies offering helmets for people with special needs. That's an interesting choice.
And then even before you get to the after effects, in the special, I don't know if it made it to the special, but at least in person when I was there, he said he was using that joke to test and see how much fun we were going to be that night.
Right. And that's,
like, he really did do was that. Like of everything, he just told that joke as a litmus test to see how ridiculous he could be.
He did say that. And I just find the wording itself to be so annoying when comedians do that. Like, I'm just seeing how fun y'all are. I'm just seeing how woke,
yeah.
It's different when you say, "I'm just trying to see what I could do." Okay, like that's wording I could respect, I guess. Doesn't mean you have to tell a joke like that. But to say to your audience, yeah, if you didn't enjoy that, you're not fun. Like, not only are you not meeting your audience. The joke
you're using wasn't, it was, I don't know, like if you're in DC, like the easy thing to do in DC to make jokes is about politics. That's the easy one. That one is pretty safe. If you were trying to figure out like what kind of room you were in, making a joke about like, I don't know, how much you want to sleep with President Trump, that's like a joke that I'm like, okay, cool. Yes, litmus test. Ha ha ha. You made a joke about domestic violence. First of all, you're a white man. You were making this joke about what I'm going to assume, based on what I remember, Black women in Baltimore. Baltimore being an urban city that is primarily Black, that has had its issues, that most famously was depicted on the show The Wire. and you're gonna make this joke, and then use that to say, I'm just trying to see if y'all gonna be fun. It's just peak white male audacity that I just don't understand. And then later in the special, he does another litmus test joke where he's making a joke about school shootings.
Right.
And he has the whole like, I hate this school. And you just kind of wait for the laugh and then you make the gun sound.
And even after that one, he does say again,
I'm just trying to see if y'all are still fun. Those aren't funny jokes. Like, I'm sure there's a way to make these jokes funny, but the joke that you, sir, made was not a funny version of it at all.
And the fact that it is like domestic violence and school shootings, this comes into play because with comedians, when you tell jokes about like groups of people, you're doing one of two things. You're either punching up or you're punching down. And so punching down is is making fun of a group that's already like at the bottom. Like, you want to attack you want to joke about the people that are actually like privileged and like in positions of power, because that's like, so to speak, harmless versus.
But also like the difference is more so it's about intelligence, right? Like punching down is just bullying. Punching up is like actual social critique. And it's like for you as a white man to come make these jokes about disabled people, about children being shot in schools, about domestic violence victims, especially like, and again, this special was taped in September and everything happened after this, but it's like for it to then come out at a time when Keke Palmer, Cassie, Megan Thee Stallion, these other unnamed women who are, suing Mr. Combs, like, it just is like, I don't know. I guess I feel like maybe I'm just more sensitive based on like personal experiences, based on me too, but I'm just like, this wasn't smart. And whoever told you like this was a good idea for your career is an idiot. And that's just that. Like,
it was
just such a veer from like his traditional comedy. Like, I feel like the reason why the girlies love Matt Rife is, you're going to go to a Matt Rife show. He's going to say a couple of things that are funny, but like mostly he's going to flirt with the girls and give the girls what they want. Like, he very much is Drake. Like the same way we used to make the joke that like Drake made music for college girls. Like, Matt Rife made comedy for the girlies. Because he was a guy and he was funny, you probably could get your boyfriend to take you, but like he was really telling jokes that made girls laugh. And it's so interesting because there were a couple articles out maybe over the summer where they talked about how like it seems like Matt Rife hates the fact that his audience is primarily female. And I think for him, he thinks to be taken serious in comedy, it needs to be edgy. It needs to be something that like men laugh at. And that's what true comedy is. And it's like, no, the reason why you can go on Netflix and scroll and there's like 80 different comedy specials is because everybody connects with somebody. And yes, if you want to broaden your audience to include men, there's a way to do that doesn't then say you have to just shit and hate on women for an hour. Because I've stayed for the whole special. Because my phone was locked in the yonder bag and I didn't want to stand outside in the rain while I called my dad. But like, did I laugh during the special? Yes. It would be disingenuous to say that at no point during the special that I thought a singular joke was funny. But when I walked away from it, I was like, I probably will never give this man my money again. I don't like the route that he's taking to broaden his audience. And because of there were several different jokes where I was like, I feel isolated either because he's talking about my specific identity or because I don't play like that. And at that point, I'm not like, you're not funny. Like at that point, you're just being mean. And it's like, I'm from DC. We roast, we joan, we go on people. That's a type of humor, right? Like that is like, it's between you and people of your age range having a conversation. I'm not going to build my entire career off Jonan. And I feel like he basically just like did that. And it's very similar to, what people said about Dave Chapelle and the 3 specials he did for Netflix in 2019, 2020, when he made the jokes about trans women. And then people were like canceling him, but not. And then he went away for a while and he came back. Like it has that similar tinge that I'm just not. I don't understand why people go the cancelable comedy route. I don't see what the benefits are.
Right. because I know that when it comes to that route of comedy, there is very much the fact that like shock value
Yeah.
in jokes is definitely something that's like, oh, you got your audience. And
Mhm.
so because of the fact that there is an audience for that, obviously that's something that you could like tap into and like you could just keep towing that line.
Right.
And and then also if they're already in that area, if they're in that lane, which also means that these are the people that they are.
Right.
If these are the people that they are, they're not going to change themselves
Yeah.
so then they could do a better audience. They're going to be like, no, it's funny. Like, I know it's funny. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell this joke so then people know this is funny.
Right.
Because they always think that they're doing some sort of like TED talk in their stand-up specials. So I did watch one of Matt Rife's YouTube specials, OnlyFans.
And that's the
And
crowd work one, right?
it was crowd work heavy, yeah. But even in that one, yeah, it very much like the second that I saw that Ricky Gervais was one of his biggest influences, that made sense. Because it's literally just, all right, cancelable, like cancel, you can't cancel me. Like, okay, if we can't cancel you, why do you keep addressing it?
And that's the thing is like he would say that, but he never said anything that like it just felt like I don't know. It just feels like when you meet like I don't know like kids from like bougie areas who want to be thugs so bad, and they're like, "I'm thug, I'm gangsta, I'm gangsta, I'm thug." Like,
But how?
but how?
'Cause-
And that's the thing is like you're saying we can't cancel you. Well, you ain't giving us a reason to want to yet.
Right.
All you be doing is flirting with the girls.
And then also interesting, like, yes, he said, I'm just seeing if y'all are fun during like some jokes that did go too far.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't say those on other jokes that did go too far. And like that says more because one is like okay, we all know like this
Right.
is a no-go. The other one is
The thing is, we
there
don't all
are
know it's no go. Because I'm gonna tell
right,
you right now, these real cancelable jokes, people was in there hooting and hollering and laughing their dentures out. But again, I was in the minority of people that looked like me at this show.
mhm,
Like, I think Matt Rife, who Matt Rife gets to be funny to, and what Matt Rife gets to say, all come back to the fact that he is a white man who is considered conventionally attractive by some.
right.
Because Dave Chapelle made the joke about a white trans woman, and I'm not saying that Dave Chapelle was effectively canceled, but I am saying we ain't see too much of him for a minute.
Yeah.
And I feel like Matt Rife gets to be like, haha, let
And
me link these helmets for disabled children.
mhm,
And we're still not canceling him in a real way that I feel like I saw happen differently and more effectively for Dave Chapelle. Again,
right.
I'm not saying he was ever fully canceled, but there was a difference in how we're doing it. And I feel like them white people in that audience was cracking up. And I feel like there are segments of people who, because none of those things touch them, or at least they think touch them, that it was just funny.
And the thing about Dave Chappelle is like that's also after decades of work.
Right.
Like, sure, he had disappeared for some time, but that's
But
why
like
when he
you have
came back,
Chappelle Show, you have several specials. Like he had built his career is older than Matt Rife is before he did that moment. That kind of think about it.
yeah, no,
Matt
that's
Rife, Matt Rife is
100%.
28. There's some conversation. The girls think he's older than that. The girlies
I
think
thought I thought he was younger. I'm not gonna lie. So when I did hear 28, I was like, oh,
no, 28 made sense to me. I was like, because I think he was 27 and he turned 28 this year. And it's like,
mm,
no, that made sense to me. Like, especially maybe because I'm slightly older than you. I feel like what comes out of his mouth, that's right. That's right for his age.
yeah,
For him to be white. Like those are right things.
hmm
So I'm like 28 made sense. The girls think he's 34.
that would be an insane. Forget
Especially
about
because
lying about jawlines,
he got under the 30 under 30. And so people were like, who did he convince he was 30?
right?
It was like, not they convinced people. I said, I think that man is 28.
And it's interesting because it's almost like Matt Rife is following a Dave Chappelle route in the sense that both of their specials are talking about the audience. Like
Mhm.
it's not a joke about, oh, here's these things, oh, here's my thoughts on things solely. It's also here's my thoughts on you guys.
Hmm.
And while doing that, because with Dave Chappelle was joking about like ideas at first. But
Right.
then when he had the special after that, and after that, he's now responding to criticism from his prior shows.
Which
And so that become
is fun. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a point where it's like, that's cool. Like to be able to respond in semi real time to like the criticism. Like I think like that's fun as a
Mhm.
concept. But to where I think you're going is like, but it gets mean when you're doing it from a punching down perspective.
Right.
And I think the thing that like as an artist we have to understand is like there's a balance, right? I can make jokes with you guys as my audience insofar as I also have a respect for you. Because at the end of the day, y'all don't buy these tickets to this comedy show. Y'all don't watch my TV show. Y'all don't buy the merch. Y'all don't get the concert tickets. Y'all don't stream the songs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't got no money. And it's not that you all own me because I need your money to live. But there is that like dual respect of like, if y'all don't care about me, y'all won't buy the stuff. And if y'all don't buy the stuff, I won't have a life. Like there is that like balance that people have to walk. And I feel like both of them kind of threw that out the window. And at least, you know, Dave Chappelle has been doing this for 30 years.
Right. Relatively speaking, Dave Chappelle still has his audience, is talking to his audience.
Right.
Because, yeah, no, the show, I mean, it wasn't that much better than the specials, if I'm
Right.
being totally honest.
I enjoyed
But
the Chappelle show. As I've watched, I only started watching it in film school. And
mhm.
it was like pretty okay. I mean,
Yeah, no,
the episodes I've seen were good, and the stuff that I,
mhm.
you know, whatever.
Because I had watched the Dave Chappelle show after, like, years after I saw Key and Peele. And so I'm not going to lie, having that be my base, even though his show came first, even
I've
though he
never seen
made
the Key and
that
Peele show.
path for Key and Peele, the Chappelle show is just like Key and Peele's here, they're like right here. The reason why I do have a liking towards Dave Chappelle and not Matt Rife is because with Dave Chappelle, he does at least like talk about something. Like he talks about
Yeah.
like this bigger picture or something. Matt Rife, again, is on stage. Really, his bigger picture is just talking about his audience. And the thing is, if somebody has a change, it's not his audience.
Right.
Like you're doing something that's live. It'd be one thing if you're making offensive like videos, in which case,
Yeah.
all right, create whatever you want, but we just won't pay attention.
Right.
No, this is like people are coming to see you, and obviously that means people are
it
still
goes into
giving
like
him
it's his brand, so it's like, but
attention.
from now on, I think the funny part is now the stand up special is out. You can no longer say you didn't know who Matt Rife was. Now, granted, like I said, people were buying tickets to the tour before the stand up special came out, and it
Mhm.
kind of sucks because you can't really like get a refund in that case. It's harder. But it's like from this point on, if you go see Matt Rife and spend new money on him, you know who he is. At least in my case, like you said, you watched, you know, one of his YouTube specials. It didn't give what natural selection gave. Like you didn't have a way to foresee this. Some people were pointing out that like when Zendaya was on Wildin' Out, that he like tried to kiss her. Again, I wasn't watching the show at this time,
Mhm.
so like I didn't know that. But I feel like that wasn't. It comes on MTV, which everybody forgets about. Like it's not like it was super wide knowledge. Versus now he has a Netflix special. You've told us that you are okay with being misogynistic, homophobic, you know, pedophilic, and you're joking at least, hopefully not in your real actual life. Like it can just be like now you just know who he is. And
Yeah.
I think now if somebody told me they were going to hit like a Matt Rife show, I'd be like, you
You think it's funny?
think that's funny?
Right.
And I mean, I think it kind of leads to the question of like, where, if should the lines be drawn in comedy? Like, what's the daring and original versus like, absolutely not. We need to put you under the jail.
Which is a good question. Unfortunately, I like my core belief, my core thought is that anything can be joked about. That doesn't mean anything is funny. I mean, that doesn't mean everything is funny. That doesn't mean just because a joke can be made that it should be made. You know, but it is like because okay, so Dave Chappelle, because again, that is a comedian I admire. Like I respect his career. I respect most of his specials, I think. But he started out one of his specials with the fact that like comedians should be the ones saying the most outrageous thing on stage.
Right.
because like it's like comedians are supposed to be making people laugh. They are supposed to be saying ridiculous things. And like I do think that sometimes even in media people will try to censor things that they find unpleasant. And I just think in general, if it serves your purpose, then go for it. But if it's not serving your purpose and it's going too far, like I think
What do you
that's
mean
really
serving your purpose, right? Because Matt Rife's purpose realistically was to broaden his audience and make stuff that allowed more men to find themselves in it. That served his purpose. It just was evil.
Well, then, see, I just find that to be okay. So I guess I mean to say that I think it should serve the narrative that you're telling or the story that you're telling, because I do feel like in his special, like if we're breaking down like the philosophical like parts of that special, it was very much belief, fears, and like having to like defend himself. And then he even said at the end, like how his therapist says like he's defensive and that's something that he needs to work on. So I think that if there's something that could coincide with those three, because I don't see how the domestic violence joke was a part of beliefs or him being defensive.
Well, I guess it is about him being, but I think to your point, it is about him being defensive, because what was his response when he called out? But that's being defensive. Like I think realistically, he, not being a therapist, not being a psychologist, not knowing this man in real life, he sets up situations in order for him to have to defend himself. So I think that by telling that joke, again, because remember, all the specials were, y'all can't cancel me, y'all can't cancel me. Let me test it. Oh, I'm going to do something that's going to cause outrage, because really he's doing outrage marketing. And then I'm going to have to defend myself. That is about him being defensive. Being defensive isn't always just like seeing what's not there. It's also setting up situations where you know someone's going to call you out in order to have to be able to defend it. Because I think what you're saying is like when you're like, it should support the narrative. And I'm like, but I'm still challenging you there, because that is what he did. And I think the question is like, where's the line? Because right now you're just kind of like, and I'm not trying to like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're supporting what he did in a way that you're just not maybe catching, but it's like, it does support his narrative. And I think the question is like, where is the line drawn between like, this could support your narrative, but you simply should not do it.
Yeah, no, because I will say it was like 2 minutes ago where I was like, oh, Caleb, you're so innocent, that thinking that the narrative, I mean, his purpose wasn't bad.
Yeah. Because I think that's the thing is like, I mean, like you think about Nicki Minaj, and she's like, they want me to be the bad lie. All right, well, I'm gonna be the bad lie. They want me to be the bad guy. Okay, I'm Chun-Li then. Nicki has decided she's gonna be a villain.
Right.
But there's still a line of like where she crossing stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I think for me, like, I love, you want to be an edgy comedian and you're saying, look, I'm tired of being somebody all the girls like, I'm going to try and be a fuckboy. That's cool. Tell jokes about the time you cheated on your girlfriend. Tell a joke about the time you planned a first date with two girls on the same day, a block from each other. Tell that story. Tell those jokes. But you bringing in all the things you brought in, not only are they, other than the story with the kid, if we decide that's true, like not only are these like things you haven't necessarily had experience with, you're just telling them to be outrageous, and therefore it's not authentic. Like I'd rather you, I don't know, I literally would love if Drake did an album. Well, I mean, I feel like he does this all the time, but if Drake did an album like Her Loss, for example, and it literally was just all the things that he did bad, honestly, from his mouth, that would be better than Her Loss. And I enjoy Her Loss, don't get me wrong, but like Her Loss to me is almost in some ways like Matt Rife's Natural Selection. Like I feel like those are each of their projects about that.
That is so funny.
Like they are the vice versa of each other. That's his Natural Selection. That's his Her Loss.
That's just so funny because there's a Childish Gambino lyric
Mhm.
where
I don't like it.
he compares a rap album to a comedy album. He was like, "Is Nas's Illmatic not Eddie Murphy's Delirious?"
And it's
So
not about the subject matter, it's about where it stands in the body of
yeah,
work. In this case, they happen to be similar in subject matter as well.
right. Um, yeah, no, I mean, because I just feel like it should be common sense, like don't tell jokes that would hurt your audience. Your purpose is to tell jokes. So unless your purpose is to find your audience, and so
Like
you
it's
make whatever
his
joke.
audience. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's like he hates that his audience is women because in order to be taken seriously as a comedian, it needs to be men,
Which is crazy.
which is crazy. Because here's the thing, uh, at the end of the day, whatever you
Hmm.
want to say, Drake got more slaps than the Beatles. He almost got. I don't know if he's tied with Michael yet, and almost has passed him, or whatever. But it's like
He passed Michael.
he passed Michael now.
Or tied.
I think he's tied. Either way, but it's like an audience will carry you. You
Yeah.
don't necessarily need like the people who still are Nicki Minaj stans are carrying her. Don't matter who she lost over the years. People still gonna listen to Pink Friday 2 when it dropped. People are
Next
still
week.
gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like all of these things are true. And it's like I think like I want artists, maybe if that's the takeaway from all of this, right? Is that
Hmm.
like build your audience and craft it and curate it intentionally while you're on the come up, and then protect and nurture and grow that audience after your career. So if you are a dude and you making rap songs but the girls like them, or if you're a girl and you're making R&B music but the guys like you, or whatever the case is, or stick with that. Don't You can expand it but never
Right.
leave your core audience.
Yeah, like you can mold
Something else.
your fan base, but you can't start from
The
scratch.
thing is this: if your fan base is primarily girls, what did I say about most of the men in the audience? Boyfriends, husbands. The guys are there too. Tell a
Right.
couple jokes that say, haha, I'm open to guys coming too. But you don't gotta completely abort mission and just get rid of your core fan base in pursuit of something else. I think that's dumb. And I think
Yeah.
it's really just wild to see somebody like fumble the bag in this way. And then the fact that he's out here arguing with this plastic surgeon in the comments of TikTok,
Hmm.
God bless his heart.
Yeah, I do find it extra funny just because, I mean, I do understand that with comedians, like, there is the worry of getting canceled. So, and like some type of, I guess, exposure therapy. Yeah, you try to get yourself canceled and you talk about it in order to like overcome that fear. But I just hope all comedians are listening. We're tired of it.
We're tired of it. Especially because, like, again, getting canceled, depending on what your audience is like again, every girl, the girls like to pretend that Matt Rife is their boyfriend. All you had to do was tell a story about you cheating on somebody, and that would have been a cancel for you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You don't have to go to these far out extremes. You can literally look at who is my identity and then tell a story that edges outside of that, and that'll be what gets you canceled. And it won't get you really canceled, but you'll have a taste of it. You'll know how to respond to it without having to like really like throw out your audience.
And then also, I just need people to tell jokes again.
Tell
Like,
them.
did he have jokes? Yeah, he did have
There were
jokes.
some jokes told.
But sometimes he just had stories, and it's like, respectfully, I don't care.
I like storytelling comedy. Again,
I love
I like
storytelling comedy.
Gerard. That's why I like
But
Gerard
I
Carmichael.
like,
That's why I like Tambourine. Like those are storytelling specials with jokes interlaced.
but that's
As
what I'm
opposed
saying.
to jokes.
I love storytelling comedy. That's my favorite one.
Mhm.
But when you tell a story without jokes, it's just, haha, look at this funny. I have to tell you guys about this funny thing that happened in my life. Because when he was talking about the kid with special needs who had the big package, I did not care. Like an ounce of that.
And the issue with that joke, like you said, I mean, just like, what was the point? What did it inform about you? What does it then tell us about you? Like, it didn't have that, like, why should I care factor. It was very much like, you're here at my special, so you're going to listen to what I say.
Right.
And like, I think in an hour, you can afford one of those kinds of jokes. Y'all at my special, y'all just gonna hear what I got. I'll give you one, depending on how
Mhm.
long it is. I mean, like, if it's like super short, if they're all like 20 seconds, I'll give you like a couple. But like, if it's a 4-minute story out of an hour, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But there were a few of them,
Where it's just
a
like,
couple. And respectfully, I didn't care.
you're just talking.
Well, it must be nice to be a white man.
Because back in my day,
Back in my day.
the king would have beheaded this jester.
And with that, this has been another episode of the No Sleep Till Hollywood podcast. We are not sleeping until we make it in Hollywood. And while we're up, we were discussing the state of the industry and our place in it. And if you're not funny, we will talk about you. Anyway, you can follow us at No Sleep Till Hollywood on Instagram. You can follow me at GSmitty with 2 T's and 4 Y's on anything with an @ symbol, to include TikTok and YouTube.
And you can follow me at Caleb Subtitles, where I will be permanently funnier than Matt Rife. And of course, please follow the podcast at No Sleep Till Hollywood.
Caleb, I already said that.
Oh,
You
my
weren't
bad.
listening at all.
I did. Was that the first one you said, and then you said your
Yep.
personal?
Yep. There was another
Pays
time
to
in the
listen.
podcast where you said the exact same thing that I had just said, and I was like, he wasn't listening. Wasn't listening at all.
Sometimes I listen, but am I hearing? Reverse it.
I don't have time for this shenanigans.
Yeah, we don't have time. But thank you all for listening.
Thank y'all so much.
Please stay tuned.
And until next time, good night, goodbye, bonjour, bonsoir, adios, bonne nuit. Bye, guys.